Welcome to Module 5, Conclusion. What's next for digital currencies? As we've moved through all of these modules, it's really just an introduction to the history of cryptocurrency or digital assets. But there's an exciting future ahead and a number of opportunities that lay through regulation, legislation, and clarity around this particular industry. So again, we have our Florida standards connection that shows the alignment for Module 5 and the various focus benchmarks that are achieved in this particular module. The first are CBDCs, or central bank digital currencies. What we're seeing now, early in 2026, and we're going to continue to see moving forward, is the adoption of what are called stablecoins. Stablecoins are tokens that live on blockchain rails, but do not experience the same kind of volatility because they're pegged to a traditional currency. Most stablecoins exist as denominated as US dollars, but we also have euros, yen, and other types of foreign currencies on chain. Central bank digital currencies are slightly different. Rather than coming from a private issuer, these are digital currencies that will be theoretically issued directly from the central bank itself. So this might be, in the case of the United States, the Federal Reserve. So it's a digital form of national money. So this would be issued directly and regulated by governments. This might allow faster payments, lower costs, and financial inclusion. Some examples are the digital yuan, which is already being worked on in China. This is a retail CBDC that's being piloted in cities like Beijing and Shanghai. We have the digital euro in the EU, which is a pilot program that's currently being tested. And I believe there's a limit, either 3,000 or 5,000 euros that people can have in a wallet and spend. And then we have the digital dollar here in the US. And there's research and private sector-led pilot programs. But by and large, the current political climate is that no one is interested in central bank digital currencies, and they'd rather these come from private issuers. In the case of USDC, which is issued by Circle, all of those dollars that live on chain are backed by short-term treasuries. So they're earning interest while holding on to those treasuries and then minting the stablecoins against them. Here in the Sunshine State, we have already made national headlines back in 2023, I believe it was, when we were the first to ban CBDCs from being issued or used here in the state of Florida. Regulation in green tech continues to emerge. Last year, in July of 2025, the United States passed the Genius Act, which effectively set the stage for stablecoin issuance and allowing stablecoins to become the first regulated digital asset product here in the US. We're now working our way through Clarity Act, which is the market structure bill that will provide a regulatory framework around the rest of the digital asset industry. You already have some examples that are currently working, such as Mika, that's been alive in the EU for a while. We also see a push toward green tech. In the early years of Bitcoin, as the energy use continued to rise, people called it out and said it might be wasteful to be using so much electricity to mine Bitcoin. Many of the earlier blockchains that were also proof of work have made the transition to proof of stake, which runs on regular servers and is instead, the network is secured by the economic activity that's locked up in the token value on the chain itself. So these, as we noted in Module 3, are 99.95% much more efficient than traditional proof of work chains. And then, of course, the goals are to reduce risk, promote sustainability, and foster innovation. One of the continued points that's discussed in the latest political climate in Washington, D.C., is making the United States the crypto capital of the world. We understand that by having good regulation, we can allow the innovators and entrepreneurs room to actually create new products that will live on blockchain. Web3 is something that I alluded to earlier, and it was a term that was coined back in 2014 by Dr. Gavin Wood, the original chief technical officer of Ethereum. It's the idea of the decentralized internet will be powered by blockchain. Many times when people ask me what blockchain is, I often say it's the new rails of the internet. It's a more secure version of the internet that is completely decentralized rather than living on a few centralized servers. So this term Web3 was meant to transition away from Web2, what we typically think of and know as the internet now, into a future where Web3 blockchain technology will largely undergird much of the system, especially when it comes to financial transactions. Stable coins, as I noted, are crypto tokens that are pegged to assets like USD. And then, of course, the benefits that you gain are the speed and the resiliency of blockchain, because you can have those peer-to-peer transactions with lower fees and faster settlements. As an example, if you tried to send money to a friend via PayPal, it may take a couple days before it lands in his or her bank account. If you wanted to send that same person stablecoins, they would have them within seconds. So when we think about blockchain and some of the key takeaways for the future, the good is that it's going to enable innovation, financial inclusion, faster payments, and transparency. However, it is still a largely unregulated domain, and we have to acknowledge that there's still some bad. Without that certainty, people are left in limbo about whether or not to start businesses that involve blockchain, but we're getting close. The volatility is certainly not going to decline anytime soon. We will always probably have scams in the space. And then environmental concerns, although they are abating, still linger in some parts of the world. Here are some concluding activities that you could probably do with students or with children at home if you are homeschooling your own kids. For the culminating activity, you just want to explore the future of money. We are inheriting a world that's becoming increasingly digital, not less so. So what is the most surprising thing that you learned throughout these modules during the road to Bitcoin and beyond? Of course, we have our post self-assessment. You can find all of the files in the resource folder that includes the pre, post, reflection questions, standards crosswalk, and of course, the slide deck if you wanted to use this as is for lessons across the course of a week. Here are all of the things that are available in that resource folder, which you can find at edu.ardenthq.com/resources. So the key takeaways at the end: crypto equals opportunity and risk. Be curious, but stay smart. Financial literacy is financial power. And on behalf of the entire Ardent Blockchain Education Initiative, thank you for tuning in. Again, my name is Ryan Hazinski, and I am the Ardent Blockchain Education Liaison. If you'd like to contact us, you can do so at abe@ardenthq.com. Or if you have specific questions, you could even email me personally, ryan@ardenthq.com. And again, our website, which we'd love for you to visit, is edu.ardenthq.com. And if you're looking for the resources from these modules specifically, that can be found at edu.ardenthq.com/resources. Thank you so much for taking time to work through the 5 modules, The Road to Bitcoin and Beyond.